Now, a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with Brian May. Now, some of that conversation has gone out already, but another section of it hasn't because we weren't allowed to broadcast it. And we couldn't broadcast it because it was all waiting for the time that this album was announced and became available. So, stand by for Brian May talking about this album, originally from 1992, now reissued and repackaged, Back to the Light.
Well, it's just very exciting. I feel like it's all new, which in a way it is to a whole new generation. Nobody's heard this album, so I'm really excited to get it out there. Takes me back pretty much 30 years ago when we first did Driven by You. And it was strange times because we're losing Freddie. And I'm losing my dad, and my marriage is breaking up. But at the same time, we're making music, and we're sort of slightly in denial, I think, with Freddie. And in the midst of all this, I got thrown this challenge to make a record, to make a track for a Ford advert, for Ford motor cars. And there's something completely different from what I'd ever done before. And I thought, can I do this? And then they told me the slogan, which was, everything I do is driven by you. And I thought, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can hear that. I can relate to that. That's something which I can relate to my own life, my own relationships. And I've told this story before, but from sitting around a swimming pool and being given this challenge in LA by this guy from Ogilvy and Mather, I went off into the bathroom close by and kind of wrote the song. I always had this little tape recorder with me, so I sang it into the tape recorder. Driven by you, I could hear it in my head. So it was easy to go into the studio and do it. Having done it, I sang it, played all the instruments pretty much. And I thought, well, I should play it to Freddie, because often the stuff that I do on my own becomes Queen material. I said, Freddie, do you fancy singing this? And he listened to it. He said, it's great. That you sing it beautifully, darling. And I shouldn't go anywhere near it. And he said, look, you don't need to be coy. I'm not going to be around for that much longer. And you have to think about what you're going to do when I'm not here. And this is a brilliant start to your solo career. So go for it. So that was a big kind of release for me, because I was worrying about it. I thought, is it inappropriate of me to be doing this on my own when we're looking at, wondering how long Freddie's going to be with us? But Freddie, in his characteristic, generous way, made it okay for me.
So does that mean, Brian, that you mentioned Freddie's passing and your father's passing and marriage breaking up and so on? Does that make it, maybe this is cheap journalism, does that make it a therapy record? Did it make it easier to go through those years knowing that you were working it through with these songs? Or is it not like that?
I don't think it made it easier at the time, but it was just all I could do. I am a musician, and at times like that, you turn to your art to put things into. It doesn't necessarily help you at the time, but it's just what you do. I think that's, your art is your life. If you're that kind of a person, you kind of don't have a choice about it. What am I going to do? The only thing I'm going to do is go and make music like I always do, but pour into it the experiences that I'm going through at the time. I mean, there's something in what you say, because I think Too Much Love Will Kill You, which is on this album, was actually therapy, because I was in a really, really bad place at the time. And I went up to a little house in the hills outside LA with a friend of mine, Frank Musker, and we just kind of did therapy. And I had this song in my head, but I couldn't get it out, and he helped me. He went through every line with me, and I had the tune in my head, which I thought was Peanut Sauce in Aspic or something at the time. I didn't have the words allied to the tune, and then suddenly Too Much Love Will Kill You, and I thought, that's my life at the moment. I can't think about anything else but Too Much Love Will Kill You, and it fits this tune. So somehow this has all come to me for a reason. We worked through it, and it was therapy for a whole day. And then I had the song.
What is the light in Back to the Light? What is the light to which you're returning?
It's the absence of darkness, I guess. I start off the album with the dark, as you know. Light is really optimism, I suppose. It's being able to see a future that you can live with. And when you're really depressed, as I was, and I know a lot of people go through this, you don't see a future. You can't see any future that you can actually come to terms with and you want. That's when it gets bad. So you're looking for that little patch of light which tells you that it's going to be okay at some point. And you work your way towards that light That's the way I saw it. It's Back to the Light. Yeah, finding your way back to the sunshine where you feel okay, you feel like a whole human being.
So Back to the Light is going to be, here's the format facts: 1 disc, 2 disc, box set, streaming, download, because it's been very difficult to find online. Vinyl, cassette, 1 CD, streaming and download versions. The box set, 2 CD, download options. Also, there's a 1 LP, heavyweight black vinyl, spine sleeve, printed in a bag, plus a download card. There's another paragraph of this, but the collectors are going to love it. The fans are going to love it. Brian, it's a pleasure as ever. We're going to play Driven by You. And it's just terrific to hear it again. And if people don't have this album, which they may well do, but it has been difficult to get hold of for quite a while. Now it's out and it's looking glorious. So, Brian, thank you very much for your time.
Bless you. Thanks for having me. Good luck to you.
Brian May, originally from 1992, now repackaged and available, because chances are if you were trying to find Back to the Light, you absolutely couldn't. Anyway, fantastic to speak to Brian May. Thank you very much indeed to him for having a word. Driven by You, of course, was the track that we played.